So today we're talking about mindfulness and technology, the art of being fully present. By the way, I'm Andria Williams with Citywide Training and Development, and it is my absolute pleasure to hang out with you today as we discuss some of the things that we are going to talk about today. It would be helpful if you grab something to write with, to jot down a couple of thoughts. And I'll also do a little show and tell as well. As we've indicated, feel free to share live on your page. And if you can see your comment section, go ahead and comment there as well. I am not quite sure how many folks are on, but I always like to see you say hello or tell me about your day real quickly in the chat section. So we can do that as you are entering your comments as well. All right. Okay. So today we're talking about the art of being fully present. And the first thing I'd like for you to do is to think about whether or not if you're using a desktop or a laptop or your mobile phone. Now, if you're using your mobile phone, then let's be dedicated to this next 30 minutes all together and try to block out all the other things that are happening around you. If you're using a desktop or a laptop, I encourage you to put your cell phone on airplane mode or etiquette mode so it does not continue to cause a distraction as we're chatting here, as we're talking about things, right? So that's the one thing I just want to make sure that you are aware of. So when I say the word mindfulness, I want you to think about what comes to mind, right? If you could define mindfulness in one word, what would that word be? Yeah, go ahead and put that in the chat function. If you could define mindfulness in one word, what would that word be? Okay, you're not allowed to use the word mindfulness, right? So mindfulness, go ahead and define what you think it means. While you're doing that, I'm going to prepare to give you a definition. Once again, right now we are trying to define mindfulness, and you can put that in your chat box. Define mindfulness in one word. Ooh, that's a good one, Rick. Present. Yeah, not like a present in a box, but present in you, right there, right there. You're fully engaged, right? Although that could be a present in a box as well, right? All right, so let's continue on with that thought. So the definition here of mindfulness is one that I like from Jon Kabat-Zinn, and that is, it means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Let's break that down. It means paying attention. Okay, we know that we need to pay attention to what other people are saying or what's happening around us, right? Or what is engaging us, right? But it also means paying attention in a particular way. And that particular way we'll define a little further. But it is on purpose. And it is in the present moment. Not yesterday, not forward, but in the present moment. And also the word non-judgmentally. The reason why the word non-judgmentally is used is because once you start to throw judgment into what is happening around you, then your brain starts to go blah, 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 and does interfere with your truly paying attention, right? So that's what happens. So mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the moment, and non-judgmentally, right? So next question I have for you is, on an average day, is your mind full, like to the rim, blown apart, right? Or are you being mindful with that in mind? Is your mind full or are you being mindful? So now we know that we're talking about paying attention in a particular way, right? But now what we're doing is what I want you to consider is what does your average day look like? What does 24 hours in the life of you look like? And in those 24 hours, I want you to think about what it is that's going through your brain and the things that you're actually doing with your mouth and your body on an average day. What does 24 hours look like? So as you think about that, I encourage you to write that down as well. Because we all don't have all the disposals, all the things disposed to us in regards to memory capacity. So write down what happens in your brain. Karen, I thank you for saying full. What does full mean to you? Let's start with one or two thoughts. What does full mean? So let's think about when you wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, the very first thought is what? Bing, bing, bing. And then what happens? All throughout the day, right? So I want you to think about your average day in 24 hours and what's happening. And as you think about your average day in those 24 hours, the next question is, are you being truly mindful about those things? Are you paying attention in a particular way? Now, have you ever been caught multitasking? Oh my goodness, I have. My mother catches me multitasking all the time. I'll be on the phone with her, and yet I'll be doing other things. I figure I can handle it. So can you, right? But in reality, we know that truly we're not being fully present in the moment because, for a lot of reasons, you may get bored with the conversation, or you may have too much in your full brains, or you may have some other thoughts, or you may be thinking about what you're going to have for dinner, right? But being fully present in the moment is mindfulness. It really means, in my case, stopping for a moment, listening to my mother talk, imagining her like a book, as though I were reading a book, or imagining her as a speaker, as though I were watching her on a stage. So it does make a difference as to how that happens, right? So that's what we're asking you to do. Think about the things you're doing at a 24-hour basis, and are you being truly mindful when it comes to those items, right? So we know we've got full brains and we know we're all over the place. But when it comes to technology has a way of creeping up on us inside everything we do and throwing us off of our mindfulness game. Really does, right? Because remember, in my case, I said, yeah, I'll be talking to my mom and I'll be doing other things while I'm talking to my mom. And you know what? She can hear it too. She'll say, what are you doing? All right. And there's been several times where I'll be talking to someone on the phone, on my cell phone, right? This is my cell phone, my nifty cell phone, right? I'll be talking to somebody, but then I'll also be checking my mail, responding on Facebook, looking at Instagram, doing all these other things. So being mindful means to stop all of that behavior. That's what it means. It means paying attention in a particular way. And instead of engaging things on my phone when I've got my mom on speakerphone, it means truly listening to her, stopping, sitting, relaxing, listening, right? That's what mindfulness is. So when we talk about technology in that, technology has a way of drawing us away from our mindfulness. So there are a couple of things that I want to share with you in regards to our mindfulness. Here's some important facts. Over 90% of adults have their mobile phone within arm's reach of them at all times. Is that true for you? And if that's true, go ahead and put true in the chat function. Go ahead and say true. 90% of the time, I have my phone within arm's reach, right? I have it available to me. That is certainly true for me as well. And a lot of times, our phones are also integrated with other devices. Like this is my Fitbit, and my phone is integrated with my Fitbit, and I'll know when I get a text message or when I get a phone call. Yeah, that's some interesting stuff happening there. So The reason why we're having this conversation is because the mix of technology and being mindful is a slippery slope. It can ruin some things. So, in that efforts, we want to make sure that you are taking the moments and taking the time to be mindful about the things that are happening in your life, right? So, in terms of technology, the mobile phone is a big one. Also, 7 billion people on the entire planet, right? 4 billion of them have mobile phones. And so that's a thing. Just in general, eBay makes nearly $700 worth of transactions every single second. What? Every single second, y'all, right? How many seconds are in an hour? Exactly. Times 700? Exactly. You do the math. I will not do the math. You do the math. It's a lot of money, right? But that speaks to how often we are on our mobile devices or interfacing with technology. A couple of other figures I want to throw out at you. Over 1 million new domain names are registered every single month, and Google search engines answer over 1 billion, billion with a B as in boy, 1 billion searches every single day. Yeah. So we're interfacing with technology a lot. And right now, we are going through a time in society where we are looking at technology all of the time to update us on things that are happening in our communities and in the world. But what I'd like for you to do is to think about whether or not if technology is hurting you or helping you. Welcome everybody to talk about mindfulness and technology. So I want to go over to our chat function just a moment and ask everyone, has technology been an issue for you? Hey, Erica, glad to see you on the call. Nice to hear from you. And the question again for everyone is, has technology been a problem for you when it comes to paying attention to other things? Again, has technology been a problem for you when it comes to paying attention to other things? And technology is your phone, your laptop, right? Your devices like your Fitbits, your Apple Watches, all of that stuff. Has it been a problem? Or did you know it was a problem? Or are you always getting notifications? What? Yeah, I had to cut those notifications off because, okay, let's face it, I'm old school. I don't know about you, but I'm just like, no, I don't want you interrupting me at every single moment of the day. I don't get paid enough for that. And I'm talking about just general life, right? So in that aspect, go ahead and put in the chat function if technology is helping you or hurting you, or if you've realized it might be an issue for you, or anything of that nature, right? Okay, let's move on. So with the thought of technology interacting with our mindfulness, I want to talk about just some of the pros and some of the cons. Some of the pros of technology being in our lives is that we're way more efficient with just business that we do. So there's business efficiency. We have more opportunities with things, more job opportunities, more self-improvement opportunities, more opportunities to be up to date, more opportunities to laugh. Yes. I just posted the other day this video that I just had me gutturally laughing. I cried and I was just like, thank you for this video. It was right on time. But it gives us more opportunities for these things. So as we continue to talk about the pros of technology, more opportunities. Also, better communication. Oh, yes, better communication. For some of us, the stay-at-home orders meant that we'd have to talk to each other rather than see each other face to face. And how did we talk to each other? On the phone, through our laptops, through our devices. I was so excited about the fact that I could actually see people's faces while I talked to them. But yeah, better communication and also better medical care as well. As we know that now they're doing telehealth sessions, telehealth doctor visits, meaning virtual visits, right? Although I can't wait to see my actual dentist. I'm overdue for a visit. So with that in mind, what other pros can you think of when it comes to technology? We've said it makes things efficient. You have more opportunities to do things. you have better communication, and you have better medical care. Any other pros that you can think of? Pros? Put it in the chat function, please. But let's talk about the cons, the other side of it. So the cons is that it may socially divide all of us because we're always into the technology. It creates a spirit of laziness, so to speak, and being divided mentally as well. I have a friend who is very aware that her 12-year-old son is addicted to games, to online games, and it is a problem. So when she says, hey, take out the trash, clean your room, you know what he does? He does it real quick so he can get back to the game, right? And when mom goes to look to see how well he cleaned this room, no, she's like, no, this is not up to the standard of what I've taught you, and you're cutting corners. You're being lazy about it. So as a result, yeah, technology might be causing some laziness, right? And also technology is one of those things where it divides people with, this person has this version of technology and this person has this other version of technology. So therefore, we're not going to talk to them or we're not going to interact with them. So there are some serious things going on with technology. So, we got to think about that. Erica, thank you for chiming in. Can we get to a virtual dinner situation? That would be great. How do you do that, Erica? Right now, I have a $1,200 tooth crown sitting in her office waiting to be put on. I have already bit through the temporary crown. Yes, I was not supposed to be eating popcorn, but here we are. I need to see my dentist. Anywho, thank you for that. So when we talk about technology, there are pros and cons to it. But what's important is that maybe you set some boundaries so that you can really get into the mindfulness of the situation. So one of the things I do before I set the boundaries, and I want to encourage you to do, is to give yourself some reminders to be mindful. So this is a pad of paper that looks like, oh, look at how cute that is. Looks like cupcakes, right? So I bought this because it was cute. And it was like only $1. And then I realized after I bought it that I had to use a specific kind of pen with it because you couldn't see the writing. Right. You can't see the writing. Cannot see the writing. I wrote on there, just a reminder, but you can't see it. But what I can do is use this as a visual clue or cue and take this, right? And this is my mindfulness reminder. Take this, put it on the wall behind me, right? Boop, boop, boop. And put it in different spots in my house or your office or maybe your car, just to help us remember to be mindful, right? What are some of the things that you can do to help you be mindful? I use this my little cupcake situation. And I also write out things like, don't be selfish, right? For me, that works, okay? I can say, don't be selfish as a means of reminding me to be attentive and be present in the moment rather than multitasking and doing these other things. Now, the beauty of being mindful is that once you've mastered it, you can be like, give me what I need in 3 seconds, boop, boop, boop. And then you can inform the person, hey, I got to move on, right? But you were mindful in that 5 seconds, right? So you can do that. And Karen, that's a great idea to put it on the mirror in the bathroom to see every day so that you have those affirmations. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So yeah, my don't be selfish. I'm the one that needs that, but I'm sharing it with you in case you need it too, right? Don't be selfish. So if you're talking to someone, or make sure that you're absorbed in that moment. If you are trying to if you're trying to conquer your own mindfulness and to not be strung out in 15 million different directions so that you can stay focused and stay present in what you're doing, then you'll need these reminders, these little paper reminders. I have a reminder on my arm, right? And I've been wearing this every day, and I'm going to wear it for the next 40 days to remind me of the conversations that I need to have with people that are so important today. So also, here's another one. I've got breathe, 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 right? So let's consider some boundaries. So before we consider the boundaries, you can use some of these things to help you with that, right? So don't be a scaredy cat, okay? Don't be a scaredy cat, just do it, right? Now, let's consider a technology boundary. Are you willing to set boundaries or limits on your cell phone use or availability? That's a question I have for all of you. Are you willing to set some boundaries or limits on your cell phone use or availability? It's also the same question for computers or laptops. Boundaries with your use or availability. I need a yes, a no, or a maybe. Go ahead and put that in the chat function. Yes, no, or maybe. And this is to help us move on into a technology boundary. To help us be mindful, y'all. Put in the chat function your yes, your no, or maybe. Are you willing to set boundaries or limits on your cell phone use, laptop use, computer use, or availability? I got a yes. Thank you. That's awesome. Awesome. Good. So if you answered that, Karen, thank you for that. She says, what is this boundary of technology of which you speak? Yeah, thank you for making me laugh on that. So if you said, yes, I'm going to set a boundary, okay, what that means is that we have to set some guidelines about our usage of telephones, laptops, and computers. So, for example, we're teleworking. I'm teleworking. I don't know about you, but what's important for me to do is after a certain time period to replicate an actual work day, you shouldn't be checking your emails, your work emails after a certain period of time. When we first started teleworking, I was like 24/7 Andria. Right? I was like, woo, 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 woo. I was like the Energizer Bunny. And then after a while, I realized that I needed to not consume my personal life with my work life, and that there are some boundaries that need to be implemented. And that was with my laptop and my computer. I would just have it open and on after work hours. And I would just be like, oh, it's just a couple minutes to reply. Right, I should. Yeah, right. I'm a heavy customer service oriented person, and I believe in that. So it makes a difference for me. But as you're thinking about your boundaries, right, I want you to think about where you'd put that guideline, right, on your laptop, your computer, and your cell phone, right? Let's talk about some ideas and some things that are the opposite of mindfulness, right? The opposite of mindfulness is being preoccupied with something, right? And you can be preoccupied with your own mentals, or you can be I can't say that word today. Let's try it again. Preoccupied, right? With other things in front of you that you see or that are around you, right? So it does mean that that you must take a moment to be present and to stop some of the madness around you. So that we're talking about the opposites of mindfulness. The opposite of mindfulness, preoccupation. The opposite of mindfulness is maybe worrying about things, because if you're worrying about things, it's mental. The opposite of mindfulness is maybe regretting some things. Regret causes a lot of mental thought, and then going into some other opposites of mindfulness. If you can think of some, let's put them in the chat box. What are some other opposites of being mindful? So Erica has a question. What about tech-enabled services? Yeah, that's right. So she says, consider creating boundaries on some of the services we utilize, because there is some value in doing those things for yourself if you are able, like grocery shopping or food delivery. Yeah, that's a great idea. Absolutely. Tech-enabled services. And we've been doing a lot of that in our stay-at-home orders and just kind of social distancing and things of that nature. So it's important for tech-enabled services. For me, I don't do the notifications unless I know something's coming. I'll turn notifications on when I know I'm expecting something, but then I'll leave them off. So the opposites of mindfulness don't come into play as like preoccupation, hurrying, maybe some urgency, worrying about things. There are some other things in that are the opposite of mindfulness that I noticed that Kenston may have put in there, like if only. The if only is if only this had happened, right? I shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's being in that mindset. And there are some others, and if you can think of others, you can put them in the chat function, all right? So we want to stay away from the opposites of mindfulness, and we want to remember our physical cues, like the cupcake or the little affirmations that you might put around your home, right? Don't be selfish for me. Breathe. Sometimes that's a really good way to interrupt your mind going 50 million different places. So for example, if you breathe in, deep breath, breathe in 3 seconds and breathe out for 3 seconds. Even just now, as I did that, I felt a sense of calmness and peace, and I feel mindful. So you can use that as an interrupting technique, just breathing, right? If you have any other techniques, I encourage you to throw them in the chat function. Some other techniques include just become the observer. Be the observer. You don't have to always talk about things. You could sit there and watch. You can meditate. The breathing that we just did is a form of meditation, right? Just standard breathing, a closing of the eyes. You can also monitor your self-talk, which means what's going on in your head? What are you telling yourself? Monitor it, meaning get into the interrupting habit. You can notice your body sensations when things happen. You can also restructure your beliefs. That's a lot of times what we have to do in order to discipline ourselves to move to a different strategy or different perception. It is restructuring our beliefs. Right now, a lot of people are restructuring their beliefs about a lot of things right now because we're in a time where we're using technology and having honest conversations right now. As a result, restructuring of beliefs. So in order to be mindful, these will help you as you go forward with many of the things that you do in life. You can adjust your expectations in order to be mindful. So in my case, yeah, I for myself, I'm always in my head about something. And eventually I have to just sit back and say, you know what? Calm down, Andria. Just calm down. And let's just change your expectation about this particular thought that you have. And once I do that, I am mindful. I am present in the moment. A couple other two techniques that you could use would be to keep a journal. I've gone away from journaling, but what I have done is if I watch a TED Talk or if I'm listening to someone speak about something very poignant and timely, I will keep notes that relate to me and how that subject matter deals with what I am doing in my head or what I'm doing, right? So it does make a difference. So I encourage you to either keep a journal or take notes when you attend events like this so that you can figure out how they relate to you and your mindfulness or your insert the subject matter topic, right? And then lastly, establish your tech boundaries, okay? Establish your tech boundaries that we discussed before and that you thought of today as well, right? So do you have any questions or do you have anything that you want to put in the chat function for anyone else in terms of mindful techniques? We are closing in on our time together. I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us to talk about mindfulness and technology and the art of being fully present. My name is Andria Williams, and I am employed with the City of Columbus, Ohio, right? Did you see my little Ohio thing right there, right? City of Ohio. And I'm excited to meet with you on these occasions to talk about some general things that, could help remind us how to live life better. So I encourage you to go to our website, columbus.gov, and then go into human resources with citywide training and development, or you can stay on here. There may be a link that will take you through to citywide training and development. And next Thursday, we will have another live session and invite you to be on with that. Kinston, if you've got an opportunity to throw in the live session for next week and let everyone know what that is, then we can get you going. Make sure that you click the subscribe link so that you can subscribe to our live video feeds, right? And then be present in the moment. All right, y'all. I am going to officially end our session. Again, I thank you for attending. For those of you who commented, for those of you who did not comment, I thank you for attending. And we definitely look forward to interacting with you on our next session. All right. Take care, y'all. Be safe and wash your hands, please. All right. Bye bye.